Sidney Crosby got his first ever embellishment penalty in last night's Pens vs Flyers playoff matchup. But what exactly does that mean, and why is it such a big deal that this is the first time he's been called for it in 21 seasons? Welcome back to Breaking the Ice, the series where I teach you everything you need to know to be a hockey fan. Playoff hockey is always more intense than regular season. It's faster, more physical, and there is way more on the line as all of these teams are chasing the Stanley Cup. When you add a very intense same-state rivalry to the mix, things get pretty intense, as they have in the first round of the playoffs with the Pens and the Flyers. One of the most famous soundbites you've probably been hearing from this rivalry is a clip of Sidney Crosby saying, "I don't like anyone on that team." And when asked why, he responds, "Because I don't like them." But this series has not been going well for the Penguins. After last night's loss on home ice, they're down in this series 3-0, which is pretty hard to overcome in a best of 7. There have been multiple scrums, hard checks, physical play, and of course, a lot of fights. And during last night's game, we even ended up with both of the penalty boxes full at the exact same time. But all of that is pretty normal when we're talking about a rivalry like this one. So why is everyone focused on a 2-minute minor penalty for embellishment? Embellishment isn't strictly an NHL thing. You've probably heard it referred to as flopping or diving, and it's really common in sports like basketball and soccer. All of them mean exactly the same thing. A player dramatically makes a big move or falls to the ground to try to catch the attention of a referee and make them believe that there was a penalty that should have been called. The flopping element of it comes from the fact that oftentimes they literally are flopping to the ground, even though the actual contact, if there really was any, wasn't intense enough to cause that amount of reaction. Generally speaking, we look at this as an unsportsmanlike act. A player is trying to gain an advantage for something that didn't actually happen by penalizing the other team. In the NHL, we literally categorize the penalty as unsportsmanlike conduct, with embellishment as the type of it. But the situation with Sid is a little unique. The contact itself was a legitimate penalty. Garnett Hathaway did smack Sid in the face with his stick, and he was ultimately called for a high-sticking penalty. But Sid's reaction to it was pretty intense given the amount of contact he received and the fact that they were not in motion when this happened. Sid did hit the ice as though he had been smacked so hard across the face his entire body turned into a sack of potatoes. And that's where the embellishment penalty gets called. Ultimately, what happens is that both of these guys get 2-minute minors, and Sid's perceived flop ends up with them not really getting an advantage for the penalty. Both Sidney Crosby and the Penguins have said that they were shocked by the call, given the fact that Sid has gone through 21 seasons in the NHL and never been called for embellishment. They were surprised to see that penalty called when they believe it is so visibly out of character for the legend. But at the same time, Sid's reaction was pretty intense, given the fact that it looked like he lost all of his bones in 1 millisecond. If you watched the clip, did you think that he was flopping, or did you find it to be a legitimate reaction to the contact? Either way, it has been pretty tough to watch a legend like Sidney Crosby struggle this much in the playoffs. Be sure to follow along for coverage of the rest of the postseason and the rest of Breaking the Ice.